So how's it going, my Comic Chat Army? We're here today with Ken Perry, who's the inker and colorist for Shelter Division, right?
I'm the artist. I actually don't do the colors, but that's okay.
Artist. So, how did you meet Source Point Press? How did you get linked up with them?
I was originally working with some people at Comics Experience. It's a comic kind of collective. It's a school, online school by Andy Schmidt, who's worked for DC, Marvel. He did like Annihilation and Guardians of the Galaxy. I had met somebody, a writer, through Comics Experience, and we made Wretched Things, and we got chosen through Comics Experience and Source Point for them to publish the book. They were running a like a publishing deal for a while, and they were doing some Comics Experience books. So.
Nice. And we can get your book at any comic shop, right?
Yes. They can be ordered through comic shops, through Source Point Press website. If you contact me, I can steer you in the right direction. Most of our graphic novels are on Simon & Schuster as well. So.
How long have you been drawing for?
Long time, since I was a kid. I grew up in a shitty neighborhood. So at a young age, it became I could just go outside and keep getting in trouble, or I could stay inside and occupy my time somehow. So.
I agree. But what got you into comic book art?
I like telling stories through the artwork. I have a degree in painting and sculpture, and even like my fine art stuff was very not sequential, but I tried telling a story within the painting or the sculpture itself. There was always some sort of narrative to it. So it seemed kind of the next step.
And what pages do you have right there behind you? Is that Kylo Ren, the third one?
This one is Darth Maul by Dave Dorman, who did all the painted covers, Star Wars covers, back when I was a kid. So.
And what's the other?
Gordon of Gotham by Klaus Janson. Steve Scott it's a Judge Dredd. It's Judge Death in the background, and I have a Ryan Otley on that side. A beat up Invincible, which is always a classic one that he does. So.
Oh yeah. Comic-Cons. Are you going to any Comic-Cons recently?
I think my last one was a local one in Fairhaven, Mass. Before that, I was in DC, Boston. I couldn't go to New York. I had a close contact, so I had to stay home from that one. So.
Since you're the artist, do you ever draw yourself or family into the comics somewhere?
Oh yeah, I always try to do that. You got to sneak things in, hidden images. Sometimes it might be something subtle, like a background element, like a building you like, or you try and throw a dig at somebody that you're friendly with. There's some people that you know, artist friends. You try and throw something at each other.
All right. And what is I don't think of the name of the book. When is issue 2 coming out?
Shelter Division. Issue 1 is currently in comic book shops. This is the retailer cover. Issue 2 will be out February 23rd, which by the time this airs, it'll already be out there. Issue 3 is the end of March. So. They're all new covers now. We did run a Kickstarter that had special covers for all the books, and we had a hardcover edition that we did as well. This can actually still be bought through the Source Point website.
Nice.
My first hardcover I've had done. So
are these your first books ever?
No, Wretched Things I had done before this. That was a 4-issue book. That was basically, you had this old Victorian house that the vermin took over, the rats, the spiders, the centipedes, all the creepy crawly things. They took over this old Victorian house. A young couple buys the house. They move in and try and fix it up, but the vermin rise up against them. It's like a twisted secret of Nim, which already scarred a whole generation of children. So
where do you draw your inspiration from?
A lot of it comes from work, kind of the grittiness. I'm a professional firefighter, so I see the other side of kind of not the pleasant side of things. So I've been to plenty of car accidents and seen some carnage. So you kind of take that and throw that in, you know.
I get what you're saying. So really quick about your firefighter career, is it like a 9 to 5, or are you just on the call?
We work an 8-day rotation, so we do 24-hour shifts. So this week I can work Monday and Thursday, and then next week I'll be doing Tuesday and Friday. But it's 7 a.m. to 7 a.m.
Okay. And you just, like, is it like you see in the movies, you got beds and everything, and you get to slide down a pole?
We've actually gotten away from sliding down the poles. It's the whole, like, cancer, carcinogens. They've actually been sealing up the pole holes at work. Wow. They're trying to discourage using them. Diesel exhaust comes up through the space around there.
Uh-huh.
So it's still fun to do. I mean, some of the stations have them still, and we still use them every once in a while, but it's, you can be a little kid.
Right, yeah. That's crazy that I didn't even think about the carbon monoxide coming up there.
Yeah, I mean, just the diesel exhaust, a lot of things are changing with the job. The gear we wear is actually, not to get crazy into it, it's fluorinated. The stuff actually, it's PFAS and PFOA. It actually causes cancer. I don't know if you see the commercial about, are you a former military firefighter that worked with firefighting foam and they had all these lawsuits going on? We actually still use that foam, and the gear we use that we wear, the turnout gear, is actually made from that stuff. Wow. One of the guys I work with is actually, him and 12 other guys got together and they're actually suing the chemical manufacturers because they've never really told anybody and revealed to anybody how dangerous this stuff really is. They play the game of, you're walking into a burning building that's got all, everything's plastic nowadays. That stuff, burning plastic will cause cancer. So they point at that and say that's what did it. But really, it's also the gear you're wearing is hurting you too. So it's a whole crazy side of things.
Yeah, that's super fucked up. Like, for you to wear the gear to protect you, and it's just harming you.
Yep.
Do you do consultations for art?
Yeah, I will talk to anybody about process and how I work. A lot of times at conventions, I get people who come up to me and they just want me to look at their work. A lot of times people contact me, just to reach out and do a commission. Sometimes it's the writer that wants me to do their 100-page epic, for exposure, which you kind of brush off to the side. But I'll talk to anybody about art and creating.
What's the most common mistake you see people make in art?
Probably trying to, not oversell yourself, but you're overpromising. People don't realize how much work actually goes into getting a comic finished and printed and out there. It's time consuming, and it's a full-time job in itself. I mean, if you're trying to break in or you're doing it on the side, you got to realize that some people actually do this as a career, a full-time career. So it's going to take a while.
So how did the Kickstarter work? Did y'all do the Kickstarter, then once when it was funded, SourcePoint Press distributed it?
Yes, we did the Kickstarter actually probably 2 springs ago.
Wow.
And we had, the world turned upside down about 2 years ago, and it was kind of bad timing on our part because right in the spring we're like, buy our book, and everybody's panicking that the world's ending. And it was successful. We were selling them at conventions, but it totally, with everything going on, it messed up the actual publishing schedule. So for now, we've actually it's the same books, but we put different covers on, and now we're selling them to retailers too. So.
Do you have the diamond code on you by chance?
No, but I can forward it to you.
All right, I'll add it down in the description.
Yep.
So what are you working on now? If all three are finished, what books can we expect from you in the future or later this year?
Currently, I'm working on day 165, which might be coming to Kickstarter soon. I'm not sure if we're doing a Kickstarter or if we're going directly to retail. I'm looking at my board over there that has all my projects on it. Day 165, it's a Vietnam War story, kind of a spooky war story. If you follow me on social media, you'll see I have all these jungle scenes and action and Huey helicopters, all Vietnam stuff. I'm also working on Salvagers with Bob Sally. It's his space opera. It's kind of like Sanford and Son meets Star Wars. We're really dating ourselves with the Sanford and Son reference, but there's all these wrecks out in space, and they go out and they salvage them. But while they're salvaging, they get mixed up with black ops and aliens, and all kinds of craziness happens. So there's 10 issues. I'm jumping in to help him with the final 2 issues of this story arc. So in the end, it's going to be 6 double issue sized issues. So.
Okay. What social medias are you on?
I do Instagram and Facebook. I tried Twitter, but I couldn't take it anymore.
Yeah, I think Twitter's more for politics.
Yeah, I try not to get into that. Nobody's ever happy with anybody else, so I try to stay away from all that stuff. Facebook, you can find me at Ken W. Perry, and on Instagram, it's Ken Perry Art. But I post the same things on both.
All right. Let's see. What Comic Cons are you going to locally?
So far, I just have Wicked Comic Con in April. It's April 9th. They used to run Boston Comic Con, but now they're running their own. I'll be at Boston, which is in August. Terrificon in Connecticut, that's in the end of July. So I only have 3 so far, but I'll be doing more. It's just early in the year still.
All right. What advice would you give people that want to run a successful Kickstarter?
It's a lot of work. It's definitely a roller coaster. Every day, like that first day, you get a lot of pledges, and then it kind of tapers off, and it's a roller coaster every day. You're constantly checking it. Just have a lot of good rewards there, and definitely fulfill it. Nothing is worse than somebody getting strung along for months and months with no updates. Deliver on your promises is the big thing, because then that's your reputation from there.
All right. Do you have a website or anything?
Yes, kenperryart.com. I post process stuff on there. A lot of my past work, I'll show like my inks. I do some videos on there, but I post where I'll be, where you can find me, what books I have coming up. Perfect.
Do you sell any of your original art?
Yeah, a lot of times at conventions, I'll have my portfolio on the table. Some people kind of expect it to be cheap. I'm getting too old to be cheap, so I definitely I have my prices up there, but I do fairly well. I make almost as much from original art as actual book sales. So
nice. Yeah. Do you have a favorite page from issue 1?
Issue 1, I actually didn't do. I jumped in partway through issue 2. Issue 1, it's not my art, but I love the style. It's got a lot of action to it. Probably my favorite part of that book would be the reveal for Biggs, which is the son of Bigfoot. Basically, Shelter Division, it's this government agency. They solve strange crimes by using these unusual individuals. You've got Biggs, who's the son of Bigfoot, Chaplin, who's an immortal, but he's got pieces of him all chopped off. He doesn't know how immortal he really is. And you have Roswell, who's the Roswell alien.
Nice.
And by providing these people with shelter, these unusual people with shelter, in exchange for that, they help the government solve these crimes. And that's where it all starts, is these crazy thefts of high-tech gadgets and stuff.
So what was it going to spell out without it being redacted to say shelter?
Oh, I can't tell you that. That's part of the...
Is it part of the story?
Yes, eventually. Me and Bob, once I get Salvagers done, I'm doing the pencils for Salvagers. We're going to move over back to the next series of Shelter Division, the next volume. So that's hopefully by the spring, I'll be working on the next volume of that. And we can get it going by hopefully the fall. Okay. Get it out to people.
And then little pieces of the redaction's going to go away to spell something else?
It will eventually, yeah. Right. There's a lot of mystery to it. That it's kind of got a spookiness, an overall mystery to it, kind of like, I guess you could say like X-Files, where you keep revealing little bits and pieces of people's pasts and how they came together. But it's the government. They're going to fuck with people and screw with them, so.
Yeah. Okay. What advice would you give to people coming into comics for the first time?
Just don't let anybody take advantage of you. There's a lot of people out there. I think early on when I was trying to break into things, I signed up with people, and you find out right away that they're not what they say they are. You know, a lot of people try acting like they have something going on, or people will get contracts too. People will promise the world to you, but then they don't follow through. You know, there's no payment. So always cover yourself. You'd probably be the best advice.
What do you do in a situation like that you do the art but don't get paid?
I had a situation where I did a zombie book. It was a novel that this guy had written. I illustrated some of the pages for him, and later on he wanted to do like an open-ended run, and I tried to tell him that we never negotiated like you only had this one run of the book. And it became a sticking point for us, to the point where he's publishing the book now without those pictures in it. It just always have things outlined in a contract, who has rights to what, how much you're entitled to, whether it's work for a hire, like you're just getting paid to draw the pages with no royalties. There's always that sliding scale, and that's how I work with people. Like, if we're going to split things with royalties, I might not take as much up front. But if I'm getting all up front, you're not getting royalties. Just outline everything in the contract, and entertainment rights too. Everything nowadays, like Netflix and all these shows that they have, a lot of it's coming from comic books, graphic novels. So there's money to be had out there, so don't get screwed out of it. You see a lot of Robert Kirkman is a serial offender. He's got some great work out there, but at the same time, you see his name in a lot of headlines over stuff like that.
Mm-hmm. All right, Ken. Is there anything you want to say before we go?
Nah, just if you're a creator, just keep on kicking ass and sticking to it. And if you're a consumer and you love this stuff, buy more of it. Support us.
All right. Thank you for taking the time to come talk with us.
All right. Have a good day.
What? You mean you haven't subscribed to Comicchatauthority? Oh, come on. Subscribe already. What are you waiting for? It's no big deal. Like, man, don't forget to tell him to hit that like button. Yeah, that too. Just subscribe.